Hi, I'm Stuart Glendinning. It's Thursday the 1st of December. This is the day that we're going to pick it outside the offices of the Daily Telegraph. Short way off. It's about 7:40 in the morning and we're setting off any second now. Not sure what today's going to bring, to be honest. Can't say I had a good night's sleep. I don't know if that's me being nervous, but I didn't get much sleep. Got a lot of messages of support though, so it'll be interesting to see what pans out. So keep you updated as the day goes on.
Hi, we're outside the offices of the Daily Telegraph. Security have already made it clear that they're going to give us a bit of grief, saying they'll escort us off the premises. Actually, security is pretty hot here. Not only is this the office for the Daily Telegraph, it's also the Metropolitan Police are based here as well. We've got publications to hand out. They've made it clear that we're not allowed to put a banner up, which is a shame. So that's something I'm thinking about at the moment. Maybe somewhere else we can put it. Giving out a lot of brochures to Telegraph staff. I've actually spoken to some. In fact, I was just speaking to one member of Telegraph staff. He had absolutely no idea that their coverage of rugby league was so poor. And that's exactly what I expected. That's why this protest matters, because we're letting all the staff within the Telegraph know how bad their own publication is. It's now 9:05. I've been giving out leaflets. I've just had the managing editor from the Telegraph speak to me. First thing was they're leaning on us a bit because they were accusing us of using their brand and threatening possibly to sue us. But then they've also offering us the opportunity to speak to the sports editor. So they seem a little uncertain as to how to deal with it. They were trying to justify their little coverage of rugby league, but obviously, you know, it's not good enough. It's been a strange old morning. We turned up here outside the offices of the Daily Telegraph before 8 o'clock this morning. I had no idea what kind of reception we were going to get. I had 1,000 4-page leaflets to hand out with a bit of a spoof on the Daily Telegraph. And to be honest, I thought they'd pretty much just ignore us, but actually we've just been inside those offices for about the last, well, certainly over an hour, and I've met quite a few people. I've met Ben Brogan, who's the deputy editor of the Daily Telegraph. Also met Jim Bruce Ball, who's on the sports team. I've met a number of people who are making quite a commitment to improve the coverage of rugby league. Jim made the comment that the coverage for the Four Nations was unacceptable, and he knew that. He also made the point that the coverage will be significantly improved next year. We've also made a commitment that the telegraph.co.uk, which as of now doesn't even offer rugby league as an option on their sports toolbar, will be added. So it feels like, and they're making the point that they've had quite a few complaints about their Four Nations coverage. And Jim was making the point that they'd already clocked that the coverage wasn't good enough and it needed to be improved next year, especially for internationals. Now time will tell. What a strange day. Two Witness fans have been outside the offices of the Daily Telegraph from before 8 o'clock this morning. We then started handing out these 4-page bulletins, and it's, in a way, it's a mimic of the Daily Telegraph. It's made to look like the Daily Telegraph, but of course it pointed out in the sport a tiny amount of rugby league coverage. That was the amount of coverage on the 4th of that was the amount of coverage on the 4th of November. We started handing out the leaflets. We're obviously handing them out to a lot of Telegraph staff amongst other people. Some of them I recognised. Got to meet the deputy editor. He was very courteous, listened to what we had to say. seemed surprised at the coverage. Then they got someone from their sports department. Their head sports editor isn't in today. He's ill. To be honest, we've been in their offices for well over an hour, and you know, they've said some important things. They've said that they will take our complaints seriously. They said that they already acknowledged that the Four Nations coverage was really poor. They were saying that they'd already made a decision to improve their rugby league coverage from next season. They said that they've been making steps to get a journalist sufficiently knowledgeable to write about rugby league. They weren't making a commitment to have a full-time correspondent on rugby league, but they were making a commitment to have someone knowledgeable about the sport and can write about it on a regular basis. Now, were they just trying to soft soap us to try and get us off the street, stopping hand and knees out? I genuinely think they were interested, and they did admit that they'd made some errors in terms of the coverage, and I genuinely believe rugby league fans can expect to see some improved coverage. I did ask them to consider taking an advertisement out in a rugby league based publication to confirm their commitment to covering rugby league next season. They didn't commit to that. However, they have committed to making sure that rugby league is one of the options on their toolbar on telegraph.co.uk. On telegraph.co.uk, on their sports website, they've got a whole range of sports, including UFC, fantasy football, so on and so forth. No option for rugby league. And I made the point, well, how can they know how much interest there is amongst their readership for rugby league if they don't even offer it as an option? And they accepted that was a valid point, and they've committed to get it on quickly. So we should know really within days. They seem to suggest they'd get it on today, but that might be a bit optimistic. But we'll know within days whether they've done that. My view is, I feel it, you know, we can class today as a qualified success. I say qualified because, you know, words are fine. Are they actually going to put it down into action? But in terms of objectives, my first objective was to make sure that people within the Telegraph knew about the attitude to rugby league. And you know, I was speaking to one guy and he said, look, I had no idea our coverage of rugby league was poor. I thought that would be the case. Everyone has been talking about this. It's caused a stir within the Telegraph. So that was objective one achieved. Objective number two was to get telegraph.co.uk to offer rugby league as an option, and they have said that that is going to happen. So that is a second objective hopefully achieved. So I feel reasonably encouraged, and you know, I feel, even though quite a few people went on the rugby league forums and suggested it was a daft thing to do and wouldn't work and was ineffective and a bit embarrassing, I've also had a lot of people contact me direct and say, and be very supportive. A lot of people feel passionately about this, and you know, so I feel there's a lot of people in rugby league who know how important coverage is. It affects everything. The Telegraph is a very influential paper. Sponsors read it, potential sponsors, corporate organisations, influential people read it. And if rugby league has no profile, then that is very costly to our sport. And I am hopeful that we'll get some positive results out of today. But I'd also like to say thank you to all the rugby league fans who have already written to the Telegraph to complain. They know it's an issue, and they said that they had been discussing it a lot internally, even before this protest today. Is it words? Is it genuine? I'm optimistic that the words were that they were genuine, and that things will improve quite significantly from next season.